I'm just wondering, like, when you finally mustered up the, I don't know, the wherewithal to say, you know what, I'm going to social media with this.
Yeah, that's a great question. What made you think to do social media with this? So, I have a podcast called the TNG Podcast, which is a Star Trek show. It's all about Star Trek: The Next Generation, and I started out with one of my best friends back in 2020 because I'm a teacher, she's a teacher, and we were all in lockdown. So we were like, we have so much energy. What should we do with all this spare time? So we started a podcast all about one of our favorite childhood shows, and we did an episode by episode, almost scene by scene review of this show. But eventually, we got to the end of the show. And it was like 2.5, 3 years of a commitment. And at the end, I was like, I apparently am not done. I still want to talk about the show. Like, I'm not finished. So that's why I started all the social media channels, because I was like, yeah, I still have more to say. I thought I would like run out, or I'd be like, okay, I'm done with this topic now. Turns out not so much. And with all the new shows coming out and all the, new series and the reboot and all of that, I just get more and more material to talk about. But the funny thing is, I still have only been talking about what I call classic Trek, which was kind of the Trek I grew up with. I still haven't gotten tired of that. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. We frozen?
My bad. I had muted myself because I was laughing during. I didn't want to over laugh throughout your response. But yeah, I would say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? I mean, you got to. I think one of the best parts about like the internet opening up the way it is like you don't have to succumb to things that you're not interested in just for likes and stuff like that. Like, I have decided to fully submerge myself in things that I am overwhelmingly interested in, and that brings me happiness. And I couldn't wait to speak to you because I feel like we had that same thing, even though you're sticking with the OG Treks. I'm curious about your experience with some of the newer Treks. You know what? Excuse my language, but fuck all that. All right. I would like to skip forward and just get this out the way right now. Okay, I was going to sugarcoat it, but I done took too much time already as it is, and I'm a bit of a chatterbox, if you can't tell. So I need you to help set the record straight between me and this dude at the bottom of the screen, because for some reason, he has a different wrong opinion about the next upcoming subject.
Wow. Tampering with the witness.
Right. Yo, he for some strange reason, this dude, all right, before I don't want, let me set it up like this. Who is on your, Sharice, Mount Rushmore of Star Trek captains? Now, I'm speaking specifically about the shows, not the movies. I know the movies got a little strange with Chris Pine and even with Helmsworth. But who, pray tell, if you wouldn't mind indulging us, are your Star Trek Mount Rushmore people?
That is a good question. And it's different from what I thought you were going to ask. So you had said before in an email, like offline, about who's like the best captain. And I asked the same question to my audience on my YouTube channel. And we have this whole debate of like, who's the best captain? And the interesting thing that I discovered from the community was that it depends on the context. So who is, for example, Sisko was a wartime captain, right?
Okay, fair.
And so you got to kind of think, if we had, I don't know, Archer or somebody in that same situation, what would they do? Like, would they have been as good? If we had Picard in Sisko's situation, would he have been as good? Consequently, or conversely, I should say, we have Janeway, who was out in the Delta Quadrant. And so she was just flying by the seat of her pants, trying to figure it out to get home. And you got to wonder, okay, would Sisko have acted the same way? Would Picard have acted the same way? You know what I mean? Like, if we swap them around, would they actually have been as good in that role? And the example I always think about is the episode Chain of Command, where Picard gets kidnapped by the Cardassians and it's awful. And Captain Jellicoe comes in, who's the worst. But in that situation, he was the man for the job. Not the man for the flagship 24/7, but the man for the job in that exact incident, right? So I think there's kind of two parts. One part is who's the best captain for the job, and it depends on the job. Then the second part is who's your personal favorite captain, which is a whole different thing. That's just like, who do I care for? Like, it has nothing to do with their abilities in leadership. Because that was one of the things I kind of rated all the captains on. How good are they as a leader, as a communicator, as a problem solver, things like that. And so I think for me, it's kind of a two-part split. I am obsessed with Captain Janeway because she was the first female captain. And me as a young woman growing up, I was like, I want to be Janeway when I grow up. So on the one hand, I would just love to be Janeway. But on the other hand, if it was like, who's the best boss? Like, what ship would I want to be on? It is the Enterprise D under Picard all day, every day,